All right, and hello everyone. Welcome to USFC number 166. Tao is not able to host as he is taking a break from hosting USFC, and I know I've said before I'm taking a break from hosting events. That more or less still remains the case, but I didn't want to let this event just die, so I figured I would take the reins for a bit. It's a pretty casual event anyway, so it shouldn't be a big deal. And yeah, with that, let's get started. Internet connection is looking good, so everything should go smoothly. We have Pico against Oak to start us off, and then Maestro against Castar right after that. So we're going to get these early fights out of the way. We'll use my host for this because we got some North American players here, and I know Oak, generally speaking, does well with my host as well, so it's going to be the best we can do. Ping the guys here. Now, I've had to move the names because of Tekken, so hopefully they're not obstructing anything once we get in the game. I'll have to adjust as we go, but it's not that big of a deal. Pekla will take the left side to start us off. He's already here. Oak will take the right. They're both here, it looks like, which is good. And the rules are the same as usual. Haven't changed anything. Title fight will be much later. I'll be in the commentator's cabin as well. If anybody wants to join me, please feel free. Let's start the event and notify everybody. Beautiful. So you guys can listen instead of having to run my stream in the background or something, which can be annoying. I'll go into options as well, just because I have changed some audio stuff. Let's apply that. I figured you guys would want to hear the swords clashing a little bit, so decided to turn that up again, because otherwise it's kind of awkward if you can't hear that. Pico on the left again, he has keyboard now. Oak on the right should also have keyboard. And let me know if anything's too loud. It should be fine. It's my usual settings, but alright, what's going on? Oh yes, game capture as well. I'll turn that on for this game. You can already see it, but it's just nice to have the screen take priority over the others. What is up? You can't hear me? That's strange. You should be able to. Yeah, my audio is showing up on OBS just fine. Hopefully you're hearing me there. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to hear me. Because I can see myself speaking on Discord, like it's showing up. Is anybody else unable to hear me before we get started? Okay, this is annoying as hell. You can't hear me, but why wouldn't you be able to hear me? I don't understand. Does that fix it? Like, there's nothing else I can do. What about now? That's weird, because I have the same source. What? That's never been a problem before. Yeah, I'll do that. Let's try that again. Do you guys hear me? I know you guys hear me on stream. Do you hear me in Discord? Because I see myself talking, and the sound is coming through as far as I can tell, but people are not hearing me. What the fuck? That makes no sense. Check Discord audio. I'm doing that right now, and it's the same audio source, so there shouldn't be any issues. That's why I'm not understanding what's going on. Okay, let's look at this then. Yeah. It's the Turtle Beach Stealth Pro in Discord. It's the Turtle Beach Stealth Pro. Yeah, it's still annoying though. I want people to be able to hear me, so. Okay, check. It's coming through in Discord. When I do the mic test, it comes through, so I don't know. Okay, let's try this again. Check. I can do that, yeah. Alright, well I guess Armory's fine. I'm gonna move to Armory. Or maybe just make a new one for right now. Coming through now? Okay. That's strange, because I had to rejoin again, so I left it, came back, it didn't work, left it, came back again, suddenly it works. I guess persistence sometimes fixes these issues, I don't know. Anywho. We're here, everything's working. Let me just double check the game audio is actually working. Because I'm not sure it actually is. Oh, no, it is. Yeah, it's coming through. Beautiful. OBS is just delayed with showing me that. But we got it all working. Pico on the left, Oak on the right. You both have keyboard. 7 flags as usual. Nothing's changed. Where's Oak? I'll just double check the flags are not being obscured. On the YouTube stream, you guys can just start fighting. I'll adjust after a flag or so if I have to. Casimir, love to see it. Yeah, I'll move it down slightly, but it's not a big deal. That's a double to start us off. Flashy finishing by both of them. One moment, guys. Just moving the names a bit down and to the right. There we go. Go ahead. A little nicer that way. Pico with the first flag. Calc is a very stylish fencer, so I'm actually glad to see them both fighting in the mirror, because Calc is outclassed in so many other matchups that it can be very tough to make him work. But when it's two calcs fighting, it's just a clean, stylish fight. Nobody's got any sort of unfair advantages or anything like that. It's just a clean broadsword fight. Nice. Cut the thrust. Calc is very versatile, though. That is one thing that he does have that some other characters don't have. His weapon is as much a cutting weapon as it is a thrusting weapon. Thrust there, Pico stabbing the face, but does eat a hit to the arm. Pico's very tricky with Calc as well, so it actually could make things difficult for Oak. Although Oak is also an experienced Calc player, believe it or not, for those who are unfamiliar, it is still the case that he hasn't played Calc for quite a bit, whereas Pico has played Calc on and off pretty consistently. So it might still be difficult to adapt. Nice hit. Got the thrust there. Good engagement by both of them. Oak actually not far behind now, although Oak did have a consistent disadvantage earlier in this fight. He is starting to make a comeback, and that's something he's very good at doing, adapting to the fight, making these comebacks. It's a double. Wow, nice thrust to the face there. Oak tried to mix it up by going low, but he left his center and his head open in doing so. Pico trying to beat the blade aside there. Some cuts. They're out of measure, but what they're doing is they're meeting Oak's blade and presenting a threat to him, while also potentially clearing an avenue for a follow-up. Oak is able to get a cut of his own, though, after making it a little bit messy with that dash. Sometimes you have to do that. Stab to the face there. One more needed for Oak, actually. Oak has successfully produced a little bit of an advantage. It won't be that significant, I don't think, but one flag can make a big difference. And so far it looks like it's smooth. I haven't seen anybody pause or anything, so that's good. And Oak is able to get just close enough to where Pico's off-center thrust is not able to connect in time. I'll just switch the names, guys. Nice comeback by Oak. Very impressive stuff there. Alright, go ahead. Gideon now. Oak was saying something about switching characters to prove that he wants to win or something like that. There's some trash talk going on before this event. Friendly banter. We'll see if that ends up happening. Nice double there. Nice. Double. Just bringing up the YouTube chat here. Engage over there and I'll see them. Nice thrust to the arm. Oak trying to snipe the hand here, use Calc's range. It's pretty simple, this matchup. Gideon has the advantage up close, Calc has the advantage at range. And the reason why is pretty simple. Calc has a straight, longer sword that can both cut and thrust very well. Pico's got a more cut-centric sword that is shorter and curved. The fact that it's curved alone actually can reduce the reach, especially if it's a curve. And he's making it difficult, actually, with the way Oak is playing for Pico to close the distance and produce a result here. That was a great parry earlier by Oak, too, and Pico came down for a cut. He immediately riposted to the head. Ooh, strike to the arm. Not able to get a kill. They've both taken some damage. Thrust down low. Another thrust by Oak. Another thrust by Oak, getting a little bit too close. Although he does get a graze for his trouble, it's not quite enough. Gotta land with the point to get the maximum damage. Again, going for thrust there, but Pico is able to bat them aside. But there we go, the stab straight to the head. Nasty move this matchup, it looks like. Okay, we're gonna switch names again. Go ahead. Okay, I'm being pinged about something. Let me have a look. Marie now, which can actually be a fairly decent matchup against Calc, it has to be said. Marie generally sucks in pretty much every matchup, but because Calc is slower and his point control is not to Marie's level, there is actually a possibility for Marie to land hits in the middle of Calc's attacks, and to use her range to score kills. Marta especially, though, if you want to defeat Calc, Marta is a very good character for that. Marie can still run into some trouble, but it's at least a winnable fight for Marie. Especially in the hands of somebody like Pico, who has practiced a lot of Marie, which is not surprising. He's practiced every character. This is a matchup he knows pretty well, too. Stab by Oak is not able to secure a kill as it hits the left arm. That thrust just barely missed. It was a bit of a graze, but it wasn't enough to kill. Stab to the head, though. Does finish it. It's challenging because Oak needs to play a tighter game here and fight Marie for the center. But when that point is so much quicker than your own, it can be very difficult. Faster saber characters, wand swords, etc. have no trouble batting Marie aside and just killing her, but Calc really struggles against these nimble rapiers. But it's funny because Calc also, by extension, does better in matchups where Marie would do worse. So, I think Calc is still the stronger character statistically speaking. I think that's pretty clear, but like Gideon, for instance, would just slaughter Marie most of the time. But equally, Calc can do just fine against Gideon, and it's not a problem. Parried the thrust there and cut to the head. That was nice by Pico, who needs one more. And then there's a stab as Oak tried to get blade contact with Long Guard, but I think he got too close. So the idea made sense, but it just didn't quite work out. So Pico has actually scored a win, which is good for him. So it's definitely not over just yet. Pico has a point on the board. It is 2-1 in favor of Oak, though. And I think Pico has once again made a switch. This is something he always does. He just switches characters on a dime. Even if he's winning with a certain character, he will switch. That's just how he plays. Big slashes there. Nobody's been hit just yet, though. They're both playing it reasonably safe. Good exchanges, team. They're almost making me want to play the game more, to be honest. These fights in general have been very clean. I just know the game often is not so clean, and it's often not so fun, so. It is what it is. It could also just be burnout, but just the state of the game is not really ideal. But, focusing on the fight here, as this is not what it's about. Perfect cut to the wrist there by Pico. The game at its best, though, is still incredible. Google can make some great changes. Just imagine what the game will become. Big if. Play content with both of them. Nice exchanges. This honestly could be Hall of Fame worthy. Nice to see such a great fight in the opening. Initially Oak was gonna fight Maestro again, but turns out they fought in the previous USFC, so I switched them, had Oak fight Pico instead, and this produced a really good result, so whatever happened, both fighters have done a really good job. Now, on paper, again, Oak has the reach advantage. Again, simply, his sword is longer. But as far as power, that Dusak is really terrifying to go up against, and Tarna does a lot of these big movements that allow him to close the distance and find angles that Calc might not expect. In some ways, their styles are actually fairly similar too. The way they approach the fight can be a little bit similar. Even the way they switch legs. The difference, though, is Pico is using the Meyer Dusak. These some of these exaggerated stances that Calc doesn't really use, but in some ways their approach is actually more similar than it might seem. There's a retreat cut. Pico, by the way, on a knife's edge here of losing the whole fight, but he's still going ham. Doesn't care, still wants to put on a good show, potentially win, make it 2-2. Goes low, Pico trying to punish, there's a retreat thrust there at the last moment by Oak, very nicely placed, but not a kill just yet. Still, over time, this damage can play a massive role, and there we go, there's the reach in action, as Oak is able to retreat, and stab the arm before Pico can in turn reach Oak. And I think Oak was stepping to the side, so that really helped him not only get out of the way, but utilize his reach effectively. So, nice fight. That was an excellent fight to start off this USFC, and like I said earlier, I think this could be a Hall of Fame worthy match already, which is incredible. Maestro against Castar now. Maestro asked for an early fight as well, so we are doing that here. Captain Adler, by the way, will be challenging Luck for the title. It won't be Maestro, although Maestro could lose his chance at a title shot here if he does lose. So it is still high stakes for Maestro. He wants to get that 4-win streak to secure his shot against Luck. And Luck's just been destroying people lately of Isabella. Even Tao just doesn't stand a chance from what we saw the other day. Mike Yeah, there should be a spot available for you. I think it's, again, not Slothful. Who's the other guy? One moment, I'll look at my spreadsheet here. I don't have access to the main one, but I still have copied the format. Silly Stoner. So you'll fight Silly Stoner much later. So that'll be just before the title fight. Does that sound good, Mike? So I'll post the updated card on Discord while I accept Maestro in here. If it'll work. Here we go. I'll just post it there and pin it. And I'll remove this pin. Beautiful. Okay, both fighters are here, and Maestro will start on the left side. Castar on the right. I don't think you need keyboard, Castar, but if you do, let me know. Pretty sure you don't. I know Maestro doesn't. Wish Kubel would stop changing these settings on me. It's an example of sloppy coding. You input a setting that you want, but then out of nowhere it switched on you after you exit the game. But that's a relatively small thing. It's really easy to switch it back. Sometimes the switching sides thing is useful, by the way. I just prefer it if people can't switch on their own by accidentally pushing a button. I can turn it back on if an opportunity arises where that would be useful. So that's not a problem. Okay, Zera against Isabella. A fight that I think tends to favor Isabella, but Zera can produce surprises. That back Y is a pretty dangerous move. Yeah, definitely some dangerous tools that Zera does have. He can single tempo you with that back Y. It outreaches Isabella, so there's a slight reach advantage in favor of Zera, but Isabella does have a more solid moveset, I would say, and she does generally move faster. Big cut there. They both sustained a hit. Looks like Castar might be the one who's getting tired, though. Maestro, with good patience, eventually gets the hit to the head. Good exchange. Castar sort of leading the exchange, but Maestro is able to back off. And it's a double there. It does take a hit to the arm, but there's a hit to the head. Maestro not defending in time. They more or less attacked. Pretty similar timing there. Oh, and Castar hits the head, but it bounces right off Isabella's skull. Crazy. Crazy stuff. Unfortunately, these are bugs we have to deal with in the current state of the game. Not much can be done about that. But it's something that can happen to anybody, so we're on an equal playing field in that regard. It's very rare that stuff like that is decide a fight anyway. Usually, if you're in a position to hit your opponent, you're pretty much gonna win. Still, clean exchanges so far. I'm glad the game is running smoothly and that Parsec is not having strange hiccups. Basically couldn't ask for better from this game right now. Drops the sword down on Isabella's head. And it's actually a very even longsword fight. Makes me wish Connor was a longsword. The Highland Claymore, we could have had another longsword character, but oh well. I don't think that's happening. I don't think I've even asked Pool about doing that because, I don't know, he's just not listening to any feedback, so it's very unlikely that would get anywhere, especially because he's probably moving on to other mocap projects, so it's probably not really feasible for him to just, on a dime, unfortunately, change the moveset like this, but it would be cool if, in some dream world, he was able to do that. But Maestro scoring the first victory here, nicely done from him. Go ahead. Both of them dash at the same time, love to see it. A cut by Maestro is deflected by that attack, single tempo. And a big splash by Maestro secures a kill. Oh, it goes for a grab as they get close. That was a nice try by Castor. I think it was the right move, actually, but Maestro was just able to counter it in time. Exchange between these two. Double. Welcome. Cheering on Castar in the YouTube chat there, like to see it. Castar's a little bit of an underdog, it has to be said. Castar is newer to the server, although he has played for quite a bit at this point. He's definitely a seasoned player. He still doesn't have the experience that Maestro has. Maestro has played the game for a very, very long time. For years on end, so the difference in experience is definitely there, but Castar doing pretty well this round. Cut there, goes back. Ooh, windmill slashes by Castar, catching Maestro off guard with the timing. And Castar's looking to secure a pretty clean win here, actually. It would be 1-1, but pretty nice win for Castar. It looks like he's made some great adjustments with the timing. The holy stance is immediately called off. Called out, though. That was great by Maestro. Going for high guard again, looking for a punish. Sidestepping by Castar. Good exchange. Maestro forced on the back foot as he tries to get some momentum back. And there's a great sidestep. Yeah, longsword duel is not looking too bad either. Sidesteps by both and immediately... I'm not sure if Maestro got a little bit of a hit in there. His head kind of wobbled, but I don't think it would have been enough to trade with Zera. Zera's power is... That is another advantage Zera has. Zera trades really well. So if Isabella gets a slight hit and Zera gets a clear hit like that, it's typically not going to go Isabella's way anyway. So it's 1-1. And they're both even as far as head wobble stuff going on. Push, and then nicely done. Wow. Pushes don't typically work, but Castar picked a good moment there. Maestro was on the defensive there. He wasn't able to do much about it. A grab was not quite the answer because he was moving back, but a push was actually a good idea. You don't want to overdo it, though. And yeah, when it gets messy like that, Zera will often find some way to land a cleaner shot. Sidestep, nice exchange by both of them, but Maestro a little bit more precise. Thrust attempt there, and then retreat X to the hand. Maestro tried to power up a riposte of his own, but that left his hand exposed. High guard there actually gets through the guard, hits the weak of the blade, but the blade took the sting out of that attack, so it didn't hit with the full power. So it did draw some blood, it did something useful for Maestro, but it's not quite gonna be a kill shot. But that is one powerful swing Isabella does have that can match Sarah's power. There's a pommel strike there, hit by Castor, but doesn't quite follow it up properly. Maestro's able to get out just barely as they both have now drawn blood. Sidestep, this time he's out of measure, so Maestro tried the same punish he tried before, but he was more precise with it, and so this time it worked in his favor, despite the interaction looking similar at first. The measure this time, much better. Upcut, and Maestro, I see what he was trying to do there. He was trying to bait some attacks in, but that stab was able to catch him before he could respond. He misread the distance a little bit, but this time he does a thrust into a cut that works pretty nicely. Reminder again that Maestro is fighting to maintain his chances at a title shot. If he does lose here, he loses his streak, so that wouldn't bode well for him. So Castor has an opportunity here to end Maestro's ambitions for a while. That thrust connects, but Maestro is still able to ignore it and land a hit to the head. I thought it would be a double, but it is what it is. Back X there by Maestro. Even fight this round, but a sidestep there. Maestro showing his experience there. The wire. Snapshot attempt in the hand. Maestro doing this really intelligently, actually. He's going for Zera's hand. In this matchup, that's usually the best chance of landing a hit, because when Zera tries to reply, he'll be opening his hands up even more. So those wider swings can work against him a little bit. But, by the same token, those swings do take more space away from Isabella. So that is the advantage that Zera will enjoy, and it's down to the wire now, literally down to the last leg. But now Maestro with a push of his own, making it 2-1 in favor of Maestro. Very risky there, because it could have been countered by a simple back Y, but Castor simply wasn't expecting it. So Maestro did well there to do something that would really throw Castor off balance if he wasn't prepared, and just to switch things up from the way he's been playing it before. And once you're pushed like that, there's basically nothing you can do. Isabella will snap cut you immediately if she knows what she's doing. Maestro going with the Zera mirror now, which is interesting. He can play a really good Zera, but lately he hasn't done the best in the Zera mirrors, it has to be said. So, and that's because Zera mirrors are weird. It's not anything to do with Maestro being unskilled. It's more that Zera mirrors are actually very awkward, but it can go both ways. Maestro has some experience. Maybe that awkwardness will actually help him here and not work against him. But Maestro's in a pretty good spot. He just needs to win one more round here, and he will actually win the match. Upcut attempt there. Cut to thrust. His work how out of measure by Maestro, but I think he's trying to invite something from Castor. He is not biting. Dash in by Maestro, but he immediately drops the blade on nice by Castor. 2-2. B to X cut there by Maestro. Good combination hitting the hand. B to X again, trying to hit the hand, but the exchange instead as Castor actively defends. The sidestep beats the blade down, but Maestro is not quite at the proper distance to land that follow-up as Castor moves in. So Maestro hits the hilt, not the blade. Then there's a bash there of the pommel into a back X. Nice by Castor. Maestro moving in, but backs off, trying to get a retreat cut of his own, but Castor again fighting with that bait. Maestro low guard, goes with a thrust to the body and actually wins the trade there. That was risky on both of their parts there, but it paid off for Maestro. You can tell Maestro really wants to win this round. That's why he's taking trades like that, because it could pay off in the end. If he gets a double, it still kind of sucks. He's not getting anywhere, but at least he's not losing. And if he gets a kill, then that really helps him sort of get the initiative. Down to the wire once more. I love to see it. Upcut by Maestro, trying to hit the hand, but Castar with a big slash. And he started it out of measure, but then moved into measure, leading to measure. So that was expertly done. But a back Y by Maestro. Very simple back Y. Makes it 6-6. We're down to the wire once more. Ooh, and Castar wins the trade. It's 2-2 now. Beautiful. Yeah, Castar's attack just had a little bit more oomph, it looks like. He moved straight in for the kill. Didn't hesitate. That's what he needed. Back to Isabella. I think that's smart, although Zera went fine for Maestro, it has to be said, but Isabella probably a little bit better. Samuel for Castar now, going to Saber. Yeah, USFC is best of 5. Ooh, and the back X there. I feel like Castar should have stuck with Zera, but we'll see what happens. Samuel can be a good matchup into Isabella, but I feel like Castar was on fire with Zera. I don't know if switching it up like this is really the answer, but he is a pretty good Samuel, to be fair, so I'm sure there's a reason why he made that switch. Good exchange between these two. Nobody's been hit. Feint by Castar. Maestro tries to call it out. Thrust there is deflected, essentially by hitting the hand. So he deflected it by cutting the hand. Snap cut by Maestro. Maestro trying to follow it up there, but no kill. Thrust attempt, sidesteps it though. It's very telegraphed stab, so Castor's gonna have to lock in here. Maybe again, the switch just wasn't quite. Ideal here. Sidesteps by Maestro and Castar. Yep, simple punish. I like that he's keeping it simple now. Once more, pretty close, actually. Castar just has to make some adjustments, I think. And maybe he can still make this competitive. The dash in there with the high guard as a threat is actually not a good idea. It looks like Maestro is exposed, but he really isn't. The threat of that cut is so great with Isabella that stance is actually a very defensive stance, in a way. In the sense that imminent death is coming your way if you are exposed and in measure. And yeah, Maestro is just quicker on the draw there and is able to hit the hand. Maestro takes it, but Castar did fantastic. It's just that Maestro was a little bit sharper with Isabella, and maybe the switch just wasn't quite ideal. Still, great fight, guys. Platypi is going to fight me now, so I'm going to get a chance to fight pretty soon. Platypi is also from Alberta, as many people know, so the ping is going to be pretty much 5 for him. It's not going to be high at all. He might as well be next door, to be honest. So that's exciting. Just going to plug in my controller and set the names, and we'll get started with that. I'm on the left to start us off, and Platypi will be on the right. Okay. I'm just going to use my main, I'm not going to overthink it here. Platypi is a very dangerous opponent, so definitely take him seriously. Especially when ping is equal percentage. Alright, that's it. Good fight, Platypi. Now we have Dauntless against Clemino, Planderland. Yeah, thanks, Platypi. I think he's pretty good at countering rapiers too, so that kind of helps. In the Marta match, although the Gideon Saber fight felt pretty back and forth. Certainly in the first round. Yeah. When you miss input with Marta, that just gives me a clear window to move in and start cutting, so it's pretty crucial that you don't do that with her, I find. Okay, Dauntless against Clemino. I assume you're Vanguard, Dauntless? Who's N7 Vanguard? Just so I know. Oh, nice. That answers my question. Dauntless is joining. Clemino is Vanguard. If you guys need keyboard, let me know. Nice. Okay. And Dauntless will take the left side. Clemino will take the right. I think Clemino is in Asia, so hopefully the connection is okay. Unfortunately, when you're this far away, That's where even if connection is stable, you can still run into some problems, but it depends. Some people in that part of the world have good internet connection and it doesn't much matter, but it's still obviously a hurdle when you're that far away. Okay, both of them are here. I'll just check his ping if I can, if Parsec let me see. Yeah, it's a bit high. About what I would expect though, to be honest, from that part of the world. So Dauntless on the left. If you need keyboard as well, let me know. Let me know on the right. Keyboard? Cool. Yeah. So they both need keyboard. Alright, you should be able to select now. If not, I'll just back out and it should refresh. Click the window as well. If you haven't already, click the Parsec window. That can also help. I can also reset controllers. Or restart the game. Since you're in Parsec, it really doesn't much matter. You won't be X'd out if I do that, so that's nice. Yazuk does not have alternative skins, unfortunately, I don't believe. Even which is funny, because the story actually does have an alternate skin you can play with, and that's Yazuk without the hat, but that's not even a thing in the versus mode, so you can't use it. It's not much of a different skin, but it's at least a different look. But we don't even have that, so not an option, I'm afraid. It is kind of nice, though, in mirror matches at times. I mean, it was playing pretty well, considering the ping that he's dealing with, so I'm glad to see that. If you guys run into lag, don't be afraid to let me know. But so far, it seems like everybody's been able to more or less play the game really smoothly. So a little bit congested today. Not really sick as such, but just congested. Let me know he's actually coming out on top here if he has. Like, I'm not familiar with how either of these two players play. They're both newer to the server, but I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. Clemino seems to be more aggressive with his style. Dauntless a little bit more conservative, but it could also be in part because Clemino is just trying to force a lot of exchanges, but seems to be how he approaches the fight with Yazuk. Yazuk is a very fast saber character, one of the best, I would say. Top of the A tier with characters like Samuel or Barabash. I'd say Barabash is like high A. He's not quite S, but if he's S tier, he's low S. He's definitely on the lower end of the sort of meta characters. He's definitely solidly there with Yazuk. Can take on anybody, has some really nice tools, but not as good as Jan or Alexander, who are like overpowered. And you don't typically see a Yazuk mirror, so I'm also really curious to see how this will play out. Thrust to the body there for the, I think the first time Dauntless has actually secured a lead in this fight. Not by much, it's by one flag, but could still matter. Nice upcut there, single tempo, as Clemino tried to close in there, and Clemino just forces that combo through. That snap cut to the head is nasty because it doesn't look like it's that threatening, but it's hitting you straight in the head, so if it hits your head, it's pretty much guaranteed to kill. And it comes in really fast at a time when you think it's your turn to attack, but Yazuk is so fast that he can catch you in the middle. And Oak really likes throwing that specific combo for that reason. You have to defend both of those cuts. You can't ignore the threat of the snap cut coming straight after the initial cut. And now we're down to the wire. Very intense saber fight between these two. It can be a tough matchup because they both have very good guards and they're both very fast, being the same character. They have to work around that advantage somehow, and it can be very hard for both Yazuks to hit each other for that reason. But you can catch somebody as they're trying to attack you, so you can't defend forever. At some point, you do have to attack, especially if your opponent's constantly looking for angles. And so Clemino is doing a great job, I think, of just forcing his opponent to make mistakes here and there. As all it takes is for Dauntless to crack a little bit under pressure, and that auto guard will collapse. Switch sides, guys. We're not done yet. Best of 5 as usual. We're just switching sides each time. And hopefully the lag again is not too bad. For Clemino especially. What's going on? Yeah, you can just, it doesn't much matter. You can either just go back or you can reassign controllers again. It's not a problem. Yeah, so Clemino on the left, Clemino Planderland on the left, and Dauntless on the right. Did you press left again? It's fine if you did, just make sure you reassign. Nice, okay, it looks like they got it right this time. Yeah, Clemino is from the Philippines specifically, by the way, from what I recall. I spoke with him a little while ago. Haven't seen him play much, but sort of nerding out about martial arts and all sorts of stuff with Teflon, Clemino, and Plebeian was there too. Good sidestep there by Dauntless. Dauntless with 2 flags on the board now. Could conceivably get a win and then it'd be 1-1. But Clemino quickly gets the Okay, I'll just be right back. If you guys are done this round, just switch sides and continue. I'll switch the names at the earliest opportunity if I'm late. Okay, you can carry on fighting.
I po wszystkim. Moje! 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 Moje!
Okay, I'm back. Looks like Lemino won all of his fights. Yeah, dominated that last round. Very nicely done. Okay, a beer against Blanche Connect now. This should be exciting. Looks like Blanche Connect here. I saw a beer earlier, so also sorry about being away. Just had to deal with something real quick. Blanche Connect is joining, no surprise. He's clearly online on Discord. And I believe he needs keyboard. A beer is here as well. And I'll just double check the sides. A beer will be on the left. Doing very good for time. Fights have been going very smoothly. No technical issues. And after this fight, it'll be Zulder against Slothful. Some new players. No surprise there. Tarnowski against Bara. This is a matchup that I like to call essentially Rogue against Warrior. Barabash is the Rogue, Tarnowski's the Warrior. He's more tanky, Tarnowski that is. He hits harder. And Barabash, on the other hand, is faster. He's better when it comes to mobility. What's somebody's pausing? Are you guys good to go? Okay. Just let me know what's going on if you need to match the stop. Double to start us off there. It looked like a beer was gonna get a clean riposte, but Landsknecht said nope, went for a cut of his own, and a beer failed to defend himself in time. So, as often happens in those situations, it was a double. But it looks like they're good to go again. And Landsknecht scores a hit. Very clean one. Nice hit to the arm there by a beer. Chomp attempt. Snap cuts. Wow, really fast by a beer. Beer is a very fast Barabash player. An upcoming prospect, although a newer player, definitely has the capability to defeat a veteran like Landsknecht. I can say from a fight, like his Barabash has greatly improved from when he first joined the server. So it's up to Landsknecht to deal with this speed advantage that a beer is using liberally here. But this one can really go either way. Barabash has to stay mobile, otherwise I called Tarna Landsknecht, but otherwise Tarna will walk all over him. Because Barabash's guard will not stand up to those cuts for very long, especially if they are well aimed. So Beer is going with a more active approach instead of just standing there and blocking, and it's paying off. Good exchange, and yeah, double there as they both try to switch it up. Pretty common, you try to switch up your timing to throw your opponent off, but if your opponent has a similar idea, then it will often just end with a double. Some of these cuts that Landis is trying seem to be getting around the guard, but not connecting. We saw that earlier a little bit of Isabella against Zera. It's a little strange. Beer getting a bit lucky in some of those, but still a very dominant performance. So regardless of that, it's clear that Beer is pushing the pace more. He's using Barabash's speed, so he is playing it pretty much exactly how you should play it. A Beer on the left, lands on the right now. Oh, sorry, lands on the left, a Beer on the right. Yeah, they have it right. It's a trade that goes in Land's favor. Again, a Beer is a tough opponent. They paused the game again. It looks like they're good to go. Maybe just sometimes you get a couple lag spikes and then they just resolve themselves over time. Yeah, it's okay. So Beer was having some stuttering, but he did really well still. So I really think it's probably his end because it kind of resolved itself, and other people were having a great time on the host. I suspect that's what it is, although it's not. It's obviously unfortunate when it does happen. So I'm glad Abir is still fighting through it, playing to Barbash's advantages, and doesn't really seem to be influencing his prospects. Nice. Why cut there? Much more even round so far. Top there is evaded. Landsknecht actually taking advantage of the fact that Tarnowski, although he's not as explosive with his sidestep, he can clear a surprising amount of space. And so if Abir is flat-footed, which is something you do not want to be against a powerful character like Tarna, you can instantly get overwhelmed. This time Abir is able to stop the thrust and beat Landsknecht to the punch. Nice upcut in between there. And I almost once again called Tarna Landsknecht. Landsknecht has played Tarna so much that the two are pretty much synonymous. But Tarna also has a surprisingly good guard in his right foot forward stance, and his left foot forward stance less so. But it can be difficult for a Barbash sometimes to make anything happen if he doesn't sidestep or snap cut to the side to get a nice angle going. Whereas Tarna doesn't tend to have sort of a problem. And that was a good snap cut by Abir. Very good tool that Barabash has here that really Tarna doesn't have. There's a punch there, unfortunately. Too close to throw that particular cut, and it looked a little strange. But Abir still got it. And Abir is looking to win one more. Back to the same matchup, which makes sense. I really think Tarnowski is Landsknecht's best character after all, and Abir of course doing very well with Bara. Another pause. Yeah. I'm sure it'll clear up again. Probably just a lag spike for Abir. Most of the time he seems to do just fine, so that's good. Double. Landsknecht really has to lock in here. I figure Land could be actually a very tough opponent for Abir, and the problem he's having is Abir is such a fast player in general that it can be tough to respond to this onslaught of attacks. The YY is also a very interesting combo, let's put it that way. It sometimes doesn't work in a spectacular fashion, and sometimes it works in a spectacular fashion. The combination that I would love to see just removed from the game, to be honest, because of that. It never looks good, and it doesn't make much sense. And I'm saying this is a Barabash game, by the way. I love Barabash, so this isn't to hate on the character or anything like that. I'm just not a fan of that particular combo and what it does. But it's up to Kubel to fix that, so if Abir wants to use it, all power to him. And he's using a lot of other attacks too. He's sidestepping, he's showing expertise with the character, so you can't take that from him. Abir is a tough player. It's not as simple as YYing, even with how good that move might be on paper. And he's really forcing this exchange here. Sidestep, good patience, but again, the speed of Barabash is proving to be a problem for Landsknecht, and there it is. Abir finishes it. Yeah, very solid win. It looks like his internet problems weren't that big of a problem at the end of the day, so that's good. Probably just some lag spikes, which happens. Abir takes it. Zolder against, I think, Slothful now. Yep. A beer says it's freezing up every second. Well, that's and lagging and stuff. I'm not sure I believe that, but anywho, Zolder is actually here right away. That's good. Swaffle as well. Just need to wait for him to join the parsec. Swaffle, just click the link and join up. I see he's in the Discord right now. Doing great for time. Only been an hour and a half really since start time. So, and we're actually over halfway through. All the matchups are taken care of. Mike has his opponent, so that's good as well. I don't see Swaffle trying to join. He did manifest opposite destiny. Meister was hoping actually for the complete opposite outcome here, but just did not quite pan out. Okay, Swaffle's joining now. And Zolder, if you guys need a keyboard, by the way, let me know. But Zolder will be on the left to start us off, and Swaffle on the right. Yes, I should try to message Piper about me and Bruce Buffer and announcing the title fight. And I also got pinged on USFC, I think. Might have to rejoin. Okay. Yeah, if you can't input, that's pretty easy to fix. But that might help as well. Alright. Pinged Piper about it. You on the keyboard, Swaffle, or what's going on? Make sure you click the window as well. That could be part of the problem. Yeah, Parsec sometimes makes you click the window so that that's your active window versus some other window you have open. Alright, looks like you're able to select just now. Yeah, sometimes the fix is literally that simple. Zolder with Calc, and actually Swaffle goes with Yazik. Quite a few Yaziks this tournament, and a fair few Calcs as well, which is nice. Some characters that are sort of Well, Calc in particular is awesome. Yeah, it's just a bit meta, I would say. He's pretty popular, but he's not as meta as somebody like Yon or Isabella. But Calc is definitely a little bit out there, very stylish. Nothing against his character or anything, but we don't see him very much in tournaments lately. So it's nice to see him make a considerable appearance this time around. Good cut to the arm by Zolder. Oh yeah, so as far as reporting scores, I'm doing that myself. I'll send Oak the results and he'll input them into the timetable, since Tao is not able to do that. But I'll take care of that if you guys aren't manually reporting them. That's also not a big deal, because I'm checking off the matches as we go, so... Okay, another kill there.
Moje.
For Slothful. So they're kind of circling each other, looking for a better position. Stab there just a little bit out of measure, and the trade does not quite go Calc's way. Slothful was able to secure another flag. And it's now 3-3. Possible comeback for Slothful. Yazuk obviously has the speed advantage, especially with his cuts. Calc has a bit of a reach advantage though, so it's really up to Zolder to make the best use of that he can. While Slothful needs to close in and sort of make it messy where he can. In a way such that he's not exposing himself too much, but sort of beating Calc to the punch. Can't be easier said than done. That chop is actually a dangerous move, but leave it to Yazuk's guard to hold up against such an onslaught. Yazuk's guard is one of the best in the game. Calc's is decent, but sometimes it's a little bit exposed, especially in left foot forward stand. But from left foot forward stand, he does get some more tools, so... Slothful with a slight lead that quickly changed that chop to the head. Love to see it by Zolder. Steps forward, cuts him right there. Right as he exposed himself. That is very simple by Slothful, but often simple is good. And wow, little false edge upcut as he sidestepped, hitting the arm. And Slothful takes the first one. Very nice punishment there, using the speed of his attacks to split past that guard. Okay, switch sides. Yeah, we're not done yet. Make sure you switch sides. I got ping ding on. Yeah, you can rejoin. Okay, let's see if we can get Slothful in. And again, I'll be right back. Just gotta quickly deal with something. Let's get both of them in first so they can fight. Okay. Good luck, guys. Again, switch sides if you've done your round and I'm still not here.
Moje. 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 Moje.
Okay, I'm back. So did Swathel win the second one? We still got a fight to go if so. Well, it doesn't matter either way. There's always still a fight to go regardless. But Swathel still Swath won. Yeah, so you need to win one more. Take the right side. I'll switch the names one moment. Looks like I got here just in time. Cool. Alright, go ahead. a lot of attacks there by Zolder. And it's a double. They both gone with Yazek, presumably to match Slothful's speed, which makes sense. Although beating somebody experienced in the mirror with that character might be tough. Zolder does get a flag though, so there's a good start.
Oh yeah.
And stepping to the side there for Slothful, but it does open his hand to an attack. That's the problem. In opening an angle for yourself to exploit, you can open yourself up to being attacked as well. And actually a nice performance so far for Zolder. Slothful will have to lock in to make that comeback, which is totally possible. We've seen crazier things before.
Oh yeah. Oh
Nice
yeah.
chop to the head there. Very close, but Slothful a little bit behind still. But having won 2 victories so far, he can feel pretty confident here, even if he does give this round away. I'm sure he doesn't want to. He wants to finish it here, and you can see he's starting to play a little bit more conservative now, going for those quick cuts to the hand from long guard that are very threatening and reach very far too. The crooked thrust is expertly deflected. Nice sidestep. If you stand and try to square up against that thrust, it can sneak past your guard. So Slothful did the right thing there, I think, in not only sidestepping, but moving away from where the curve was going. Because if you move where the curve's going, you're going to get hit anyway, because the blade is crooked. So that was a nice move there. And Slothful looks like he's taking control back here, looking to finish it up. That's really deceptive, that long guard, because he actually has a powerful cut that he can use, and a thrust as well, the crooked thrust, keeping his opponent on his toes. And then he, as I was saying earlier, that crooked thrust can come right around, and it does just that. So Slothful takes it. Good fight to both of you, though. Now we've got Info against Ratzig. Or Ratzig. I believe they're both here, but we will see. And we're getting close to the end of this event, actually. We just got these two, Mike against Silly Stoner, and then Luck will finally be able to fight his title fight against Captain Adler. No, I have it recorded here, and I'm sure Oak is watching the matches too, so you don't have to. Yeah, no worries. Okay, I know Info needs keyboard and only keyboard. Ratzig also needs keyboard. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, Info will take the left to start us off, and Ratzig will take the right side. Info is a very experienced veteran with Marie. Despite the weak state that Marie is in, she's been playing tons and tons of that character and mastered that character, so we're going to see what Ratzig's going to bring to the table against that. They should both have keyboard at this point. Make sure you click the window as well. Uh, is info not able to select? I never know what to give info because sometimes I give her specifically controller and it works. Only controller for some reason. Other times I give her both gamepad and keyboard and it works. Other times I give keyboard only and it works. And other times, like any other time, those things can all fail because info has a strange setup. I don't think it's a keyboard splitter. I think it's more like something what Oak has, but it's a weird setup that's hard to make work with Parsec for some reason. But that's not necessarily her fault. Just something we often have to work around. Looks like info is finally able to select, unless that was Rapzig selecting, but I'm not sure. I didn't select anything. Oh, there we go. Info is able to select, and they're both using Marie. Brave pick there by Rapzig. I think Rapzig can play a decent Marie, though. We've seen that before. I expected Isabella, to be honest, though, because that's a pretty clear counter to Marie, but instead we're going to see a Rapier duel for the first time in this event. Rapzig trying to seize the initiative there, take the center, the inside of that Rapier, but not quite landing. So info gets a cut to the leg, just not enough to do significant HP damage, but we can see there it's actually initially done a number to Ratchet's mobility, so it definitely did something to the stamina as well, but just not quite able to end the fight. As one would expect, the Rapier is not a saber, it's not a cutting weapon, it's more about getting the point online. You can kill with cut sometimes, but it is not easy to do so. Yeah, the point is definitely where it's at. Unfortunately, of course, Marie struggles sometimes to get clean hits at that point. When it does land properly, it definitely does do damage, but sometimes you can see there, like for instance, it'll graze and not actually get the kill that you're expecting. But both of them have to deal with this problem, so it's by no means one-sided in the Marie mirror. Very honorable of Ratzik to decide to start off with that. Combination by info, resulting in a kill. Marie can kill with cuts to the head, if they are well placed there, but as you'd expect, cuts anywhere else pretty much will not kill. Not in one hit, anyway. Big cuts there. The danger of cutting is you're surrendering control of the center. The point can immediately be brought online, where your point is not threatening your opponent. So if you're cutting too much, you can quickly run into a stab, but info knows that. She is back in the corner, though. And Ratchet's trying to set up a clean counter, but info dashes in and gets the grab. Info's a master at that type of thing with Marie, actually. Dashing in and immediately grabbing you, which you don't expect with a weapon like that. It's not really a weapon designed for close quarters combat, but that's precisely why it works, because the opponent doesn't expect that. If you're ready for it, you can counter it pretty much immediately, but if you're not ready for it, as is often the case, maybe you're focused too much on long guarding, or maybe you're focused too much on cutting, info will capitalize on that. Back and forth by both of them. Blade beats, but neither one is able to land a hit. Still nice try to Ratzik, trying to get an opportunity. And this is, of course, how Rapiers play. They're supposed to be very tactical, very... just take it sort of slow. Use your range. You don't want to generally make it messy. Although, like I said, info can do a pretty good job of making it messy at the right times. But really, most of it is a rangy, thrusty game, as you'd expect. And for some reason, it froze there. That was the game, not Parsec. Or maybe it was Parsec for info. It looks like Ratzig's good to go, but info maybe not so much. Good sportsmanship there. It's a little unlike info. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so initially info had to reload her AHK. That's what was happening earlier. I hope that's sorted now. I don't know what's going on with info. Okay, we can just wait out the lag spike then. Ratchet's still good to go, which is good. Okay. Info long guarded but isn't moving, so... Okay, now she's moving. Yeah, you're good to go. Alright. Fight on. Good sportsmanship by Ratchet. Blade beat attempt. Blade away there. Info doesn't take the bait. Both try to tap each other. Their info dashes into the point, getting a bit too close there, I would say. And Ratzig immediately capitalizes on that. Tries to beat the blade. Long guarding there for Ratzig. Info sticking of neutral guard, but keeping distance so that the point will not land. If Ratzig tries to go in, tries to dash in though, kind of chickens out, or maybe canceled it by mistake. Whichever happened, Info capitalized on that. That's the danger of canceling. It can be a good tactic, but the problem you can run into is that you're essentially presenting no threat. So if your opponent notices that, they're just gonna attack you. Because your auto guard is also not up. Very likely you're gonna get hit. But it does have its place in Hellish Quart at the highest level. You'll see many players using cancels a lot because it's a good way to trick your opponent. But it does carry that risk that your opponent might just call it out and hit you. Info again, sticking with neutral guard. Bit of long guard here and there, obviously looking for a counter, not relying too much on long guard because that's where you can get late. Side steps by both of them. Info, short thrust up close, that was the smart choice there, getting the point online that way. And Info needs one more, as does Ratzig, to win this first round. Big slash there. Triangle. Info tries to follow up that hit, but not quite able to. And it's a double as Ratzig took a big risk there, cutting to the leg, leaving an opening, but followed up with a stab just in time to secure the double. As Info immediately went for the hit there, not minding her own defense. And now Info takes it in the end. But it was a close round. Okay, switch sides. Back to Marie there. Full Marie mirror again, looks like it. Bit of pressure on Info to win this one, as she is known as the best Marie on the server currently, I would say. I got pinged. Oh yeah, Maestro, just talking about hunts. Yeah, we should play sometime if you're listening, Maestro. I don't mind that you suck. Everybody is at different levels. I'm happy to teach you the ropes. And the fact that you suck at hunts by your own admission is actually, by the way, Maestro's new to his credit. That's not me trying to throw shade at him or anything like that. But, yeah, the thing is, if you're a beginner, it actually takes that into account, the matchmaking, so we might be a little bit more likely to find people who are newer to the game, so there's that as well. Maestro's talking about Hunt over on Discord, by the way. That's a game that we don't play from time to time. If you have the game and you're interested, feel free to let us know, and if you're a trusted member, you can get to playing that. The more the merrier. Triangle doesn't connect there. Surprise. Bit of a messy trade there. Info able to gather the blade with the triangle, though, and get a clean stab this time. Cut out of measure, very risky. But I see the intention. It's to try and beat the blade or intercept Info if Info were to dash in. Blade away again as a taunt, but Info knows better than to fall for that. Taunting by both of them. Big slash by Info, but gives up control of the center as a result. Ratzig does the right thing and just goes straight for the thrust because the cut to the leg is not as threatening. Triangle there. Deep lunge, and then the cut finishes it off, but the thrust is a great setup for that. Dash again by Ratzig. Nicely done. Ratzig's going to be looking to get an advantage and secure a round here, making it 1-1. But she's not out of it yet. We've seen comebacks from her before. Going to flow guard briefly. Both going for quick stabs there. Both of them end up blocking, but Info just goes straight in. Gets a hit, then a grab, and just runs her right through. Very nicely done by Info. Good aggression at the right moment when Ratzig's off balance. And again, that dash thrust, a very effective move, it has to be said. Dash A. It's risky, but if you do it at the right time, lead with the point, your opponent can be caught off guard. Because Marie typically doesn't want to dash in like that. That's the danger right there. If the thrust is deflected, then you're essentially out of options and you will be countered. But if it's not deflected successfully, it is a pretty strong move. So a lot of it is how close are you to the opponent, what timing are you using, are you getting run through as you move in, or are you sort of being unpredictable with it? Parries the, yeah, again, that's the problem with the dash. It looked like it was a decent moment to try it, but Info was able to move such that she was able to block it. Once more, the triangle actively blocks it, and nice combination. Nice, 2 stabs there. down to the wire once more. Info not wanting to give away a flag here. Triangle. Oh, and the cut. Info not quite able to land that. It's 1-1. Last blow, actually. One moment. Just want to check that I changed names. Yeah, we're good to go. I often do it on autopilot. Info sticking with Marie, and Ratchet going with Laszlo. Laszlo's pretty weak against thrust, but he does have some great ways of closing the distance quickly on the run, played properly. And a stab to the body there. Cut down low. Ooh, Ratchet really determined to close the distance, but that cut to the leg is actually making it a little bit difficult. Still able to do these big lunges though to fight that, and there's a hit to the head. Looks like Ratchet has found a move that works pretty well here. Ratchet really just needs to keep it simple if he wants to win this with long guard. And you know, everybody who's played the game for any amount of time knows the drill against Marie. Info, on the other hand, wants to keep distance, go for these low thrusts to the body, and occasionally throw some cuts, but really, Marie just wants to keep distance and make use of her superior point work, and it works here. Although it was a bit of a trade, Info still won it with that stab. And Radison's being a little passive now with long guard. And the more you do that with a shorter weapon, the more opportunities you're giving the person with the longer weapon to continuously harass you and eventually land a killing blow. And Info's throwing a lot of cuts. Not the most efficient way to do it, but it does work. Radzik is focused on long guard, so he's not really defending these attacks. Yeah, a thrust from that close was not the play. And it was a double. Goes for a stab, but there's a stab in turn from Info. They both traded attacks. Dash, and then, yep, we know what's happening next. There's the grab. Nicely done. Triangle to the face, but there's a cut in turn. Info is not able to defend herself in time. Info's playing this expertly. It is really tough. Don't get me wrong, Info makes it look much easier than it is, but the expertise of Marie is really helping out. Just the experience of the game in general It is still winnable for Marie, it's just a lot tougher. And Info's more or less doing the right thing. Oh, trade of attacks there, nice exchange, but Info does land a hit. Both trying to play it tactically, but the problem once more is that Radzik, there you go, he actually closes in and does the right thing this time. He was playing a little too passively earlier though, and that was just giving Info tons of opportunities. Nice hit there. Radzik's looking for a comeback, I'm sure. Nice cut. The thrust doesn't quite land. It deflects off Laszlo's body. That's a problem that Maurice has quite a bit. Although that one was especially clear cut, it has to be said. The point bounced off him like he has chainmail there or something. Believe it or not, mail sometimes can block incoming stabs. Maybe he's got to hit him directly though. Because rapiers also, by the same token, they sometimes can stab through mail. So it's not like mail protects you completely from being stabbed, obviously. But it could offer some crucial protection, obviously. And yeah, Radzik just making a comeback here. It was a little unfortunate for Info that that flag that I thought for sure she was going to win. But 2 stabs bounced off his clothing mysteriously. I feel like it still wouldn't bounce off. Like if there was mail there, it wouldn't really bounce off. It would more get stuck on the mail. Maybe penetrate a little bit if the mail does its job. Radzik makes a comeback. That still doesn't take anything from him though. Like to make a comeback like that still couldn't have been easy. He had to play that really, really carefully. And in the end, he found his opportunities to close in, so. Switch sides. Yeah, it's not your fault, Radzik. Don't worry. Ooh, and a grab there to start us off. And yeah, switching in, we're good. You can tell it's Info too by the fact that grapple kill worked. And it was launched pretty much instantly. Deflected the dash there. Low guard. It's 2-1 in favor of Info, Mike. Or sorry, in favor of Radzik, my bad. It's Radzik is Laszlo, yeah. So Laszlo secured that comeback in the end. I was thinking Info won because there was such a one-sided fight for a while, but Radzik made a nice comeback. Regardless of that questionable flag, I mean, these things happen. It's still was freaking impressive to land that. So Ratsig's looking to essentially win this match now. Nice combination. Dash is in there, but it's a double actually. Wow. Dashing back and forth. Nice Brzezowski style footwork. That's not a fencing master in real life, by the way. That's a Marie player from way back who used to dash just like that. And that's back when Marie was very good, when she was a top contender among the characters. It was actually pretty tough to deal with because her thrusts were accurate and her footwork was fast, so it was tough to deal with. And it still works here more or less, it's just Marie can really struggle to reliably secure the kill at times. Dashes in, Info tries the same thing, but Rat's is ready. Series of hits there makes Info tired. But Info goes straight for the grab. Dashing in was a mistake, especially when she went low like that. I do see why the mistake was made, and honestly, I might have made that same mistake in that position. It's very tempting to just finish it right there when you clearly got an opening. So totally understandable by Radzik to pursue that. Yeah, so Radzik's still a bit behind, but it's 2-1 in favor of him, so he needs only one more. Dashes in, quick stab to the body. Info determined to maintain a lead and make it 2-2. Tries to parry that lunge, but it's too deep. Long guard is not able to respond in time. Goes low. Trying to bait Info in. And it worked. Info dashed in there, but it's still a double, actually. Yeah, Info took the bait, and it nearly ended badly. But Marie fumbled the kill. So it was a double. Trying to beat the blade, it looks like. Big splash, another cut. Parries the thrust, but still gets grazed there. That point is able to sneak past, though, as Info is in neutral guard. So nice persistence there by Radzig. I always think of Kingdom Come Deliverance when I see that name. That's partly the inspiration for it, Sir Radzig Kobola, but Sir Ratzig instead. Info needs one more, actually. Pretty decisive win this round, potentially. Lunge is deflected. Good call, defense by Info. Gets blade beat, but backs off. That's wise. Lunge by Info, no kill. The triangle doesn't connect either, but that back X is actually surprisingly fast. And there's a hit to the arm. 2-2. Alright, switch sides again. We're not done yet. Info on the left. Oh, Isabella. Yeah, Radzig has been honorable this whole time, but decided to go with his other main, Isabella, who typically dominates against Marie. Most characters do, to be fair, but this is especially true for Isabella. Especially if you know the cheese way to do it. Which doesn't look like Radzig is doing. I'm not going to mention what that is for fairness sake, but there is a very easy way to just walk all over Marie, and there's really nothing Marie can do. Yeah, Radzig's just going forward, though, keeping it simple. That's another way to do it. You don't have to cheese it to get a clean win. Tired swing there, gets deflected. Oh, Info still got it. Okay. Info went with some double lunge and managed to still get the well-deserved kill. But I honestly would not have been surprised if Isabella took it. I've seen crazier things before of that tired swing. Radzig's making a few too many mistakes here, I think. Info's able to capitalize on that. Yeah, just a few too many mistakes. And letting those cuts in, which is not ideal. Triangle there, yeah, instantly. But maybe it's not going to be as easy for Radzig as he's hoping against such a skilled opponent. Thrust attempts there. Wide swings. Backs off. Ooh, that was close, but I think, again, backing off was the right call after that stab failed. Big splashes. Big splash from Posta to Donna, but out of measure. Not able to connect. And again, Radzig may be a little too passive at times, moving away a little too much, and then there's a cut to the head. Obviously, Info wants to keep distance. Info is playing this pretty much exactly as you should. Radzig at times giving Info a few too many opportunities, I think. And Info's doing a great job of capitalizing on those. Big splashes there. Yeah, again, Radzig just keeping it simple, and that's really all you have to do. And it becomes that much tougher for Marie once you start beating the blade like that. Honestly, even long guard's not needed, especially if Marie is making the mistake of trying to outcut you, because it's not going to work against a determined longsword. The rapier just doesn't have the cutting power to withstand the power of a longsword. You have to make use of the point. You can't just throw cuts like that. And even if you do land the cuts, as you can see, they just don't do a whole lot of damage. Meanwhile, Isabella, as soon as one hit is landed, you can see how efficient the combinations are. Compared to Marie, who, even if she lands a couple hits of the cuts, it's just not going to do the same damage because the blade it just isn't designed for that type of action. It's designed for stabbing. Similar to why a shotgun, for example, is not designed for, long-range engagements. People exaggerate that. Like, video games really exaggerate how poorly shotguns perform at range, but all the same, if you compare them to a shotgun to a rifle does much better at longer range. That's just a fact. Shotguns, after all, are basically just smoothbore firearms, so. Anyway, back to the fight. A little bit irrelevant, but just to emphasize the point that these weapons do different things better than each other. But even still, Maria is in a very weak state right now, and Isabella is in her strongest state in a while, so all of these things coming together makes it very, very difficult for Info to make much happen here, and there you go. Isabella dominates the fight. Understandable by Radzig, though. Wanted to secure the win. Nothing wrong with that at all. Should play whatever character you prefer. And it's up to Kubold to fix the balancing. Okay, Silly Stoner against Mike now. I don't see a Silly Stoner online, but he might be around. Yep, Silly Stoner has a green name. That's good. Okay, Mike. Mike was around. I don't know if Mike still is. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with how Radzik played it. I think at times maybe it could have been a bit more aggressive even, but honestly, Radzik played it fine. Nothing wrong with that. Mike's working on it, good. If Silly Stoner doesn't respond quickly, we can just do the title fight. I heard nothing from Piper about doing Bruce Buffer, so I'll just announce it as usual. It's fine. But Piper has a very special way of announcing these fights. So I would have loved to have him do it, but that's fine. Luck is fired up. Already thinks he'll still be the champion. I respect that though. Haven't heard anything, not much anyway, from Captain Adler. They were discussing matchups briefly, so he's around. Uh, Nothing from Silly Stoner. I can still give you a fight, Mike, if you want to fight. It doesn't. I don't know who would want to take that. I can take it as well if you need someone to fight with, but because I know your Barabash is pretty damn good, I'd love to fight against it, but if somebody else who lost wants to fight, that should take priority first. But for now, I'll make sure you get a fight regardless, Mike. So you have nothing to worry about. But I don't see Silly Stoner responding at all. So I'm gonna see if Captain Adler's around and we'll do the title fight. Just for efficiency's sake, okay, I haven't heard a single thing from Silly Stoner. Oh yeah, I can approve you. You can join up, then I'll just kick you out once we've established it works. That's fine. Looks like you're in. Nice. Luck is here. Captain Adler is also here. Both fighters are ready. I assume you want the left side, Luck, but let me know. Yep. Nice. Cool. So we can get Mike in when his time to fight comes. Yeah. You guys know the drill. Touch tips first. Isabella Mir, love to see it. On the left, we have the current USFC champion, that is Luck, veteran of Isabella, and regardless of what people say, like Maestro, he is the Isabella Horseman, probably the only one who's active, the only one who consistently plays Isabella. Destroyed Tao in the last championship fight to earn his champion title, so his challenger has his work cut out for him, and that is Captain Adler, who's decided to go with Isabella as well. Can play a variety of characters, but very brave choice trying to take the champion on, and Isabella Mir trying to prove himself with Isabella and earn Luck's respect. So, you guys know the drill. Fight dirty, fight clean, and you may begin. Good exchange to start us off. Luck actually getting gassed already, which I'm kind of surprised by. Isabella's stamina can work in mysterious ways. That is one disadvantage she can have sometimes. Luck switching it up there. Nice X cut. Not a cut you see very often, actually, of Isabella's, but Luck found the perfect opportunity to throw it. So insert that blade in the middle of Captain Adler's timing. Captain Adler with a nice hit to the arm, but not able to secure the kill. Still getting the stamina down and getting some HP down is a good thing. And wow, they both somehow don't hit each other. I thought that was going to be some kind of double or a trade. I think that's a fair outcome in the end. They both doubled, so I think neither one has to feel too upset about that. But that was a weird interaction. Good exchange again. They're both happy to just close in like that. The thing is, Luck is a very, like, not only is he a very good Isabella player, but I would say he's the fastest player in the server when it comes to reaction time. There's really nobody who can beat him when it comes to sheer speed. So Captain Adler has to be a little bit careful with that. Cut there, a bit of an exchange. Luck trying to lead the exchange again, lead the pace of the fight, which I like to see. Switching it up a few times, the X cut and the snap cut, which is Luck's signature. Luck loves throwing the snap cut. There's also the thrust and then the snap cut. A bit of a linger there. Does land a hit. Good exchange. And Luck is getting a little bit tired after that, though. But he resets, and nice dash in the upcut. Again, not something often seen, but Luck is doing a great job of using her diverse moveset. Instead of sort of just sticking with the meta moves. Beats the blade down, and Luck hits a hit there. Isabella's guard is pretty solid, but he does manage to sneak that snap cut in very precisely there. And they both have a similar idea in mind. They go for a horizontal cut with a bit of a sidestep, but Luck went with a variation that comes under and has a bit more reach. So Luck is able to win that. Might have been a double if they both went with the same cut. Instead, Captain Adler with high guard cut, but it results in a double. He left an opening for his opponent. And it's not looking great for Captain Adler. Luck is, again, a veteran of this server, a fantastic Isabella player. He tried to catch the blade there with that sidestep A-cut, but not quite able to do so. Does get hit in the head. Very tough to time something like that, but Isabella is great at single tempo actions if you use them properly. Wow, okay. I thought Luck got hit there beforehand, but it's tough to say sometimes. Still, Captain Adler with a nice follow-up still gets the kill anyway. He's looking to make a comeback. They dashes in out of nowhere there, resulting in a double. That nearly proved to be perfect timing there, but Luck was ready to throw a cut to oppose that, so it was a double. I thought Luck tapped the hand there, but I'd have to replay that. I honestly couldn't see it. Luck still surgical with his combinations, is able to get the kill. And then a stab straight to the hand, and Captain Adler is not able to cut as a result of that. At least not cut effectively. And Luck needs one more. High guard to beat the blade, a little bit out of measure. And the snap cut over top, that was amazing. So Captain Adler came down with the high guard cut, but Luck interposed his blade in between and just slammed it right into the head. Very beautiful, sort of German-esque stuff going on there by Luck. German longsword, I mean. You see that a lot in German longsword. Like, you just sneak the blade around the opponent's blade and tag the head. And that's enough to affect the fight, even if it doesn't kill right away. It can kill right away, but even if it doesn't, it'll rattle the head, it'll cause some bleeding. It might not look like the most powerful cut, but it's still more than enough to achieve its goal. And they're both taking some damage here. Going with Tarnowski, by the way. Captain Adler. Shorter weapon, but still packs a good punch and up close. Can do some things to get past Isabella's guard if Luck is not careful. I've seen Isabella do pretty well in this matchup, but there are definitely ways in which Tarnowski could catch her off guard, so we'll see if the switch up pays off. Really, Tarna wants to cause some chaos here. I think that's what Captain's trying to bank on. But there's a hit to the leg. That is a vulnerability in that guard, but that stab is surprisingly good. Despite being more of a cut-centric weapon, the point is still more than capable of stabbing. And he does so to great effect there. That's the ironic thing, is some of these cut-centric characters at least have one stab that's better than Marie. Like, it's got a pretty decent chance to just end the fight. So, if people wonder why Marie is considered weak, that's more or less why. Like, you've even got characters like Tarna who have rangy thrust options that are better than most of what Marie can do. Possibly some lag. We'll just give Captain Adler a chance to sort that out. Sometimes Parsec has to sort it out itself. Lucky's taunting his opponent a bit, but still showing some sportsmanship. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna check Discord real quick. Stuck on the double. Okay, if you need to reconnect, let me know, but I suspect the leg spike will pass. That's just what happens in Parsec sometimes. There's not much that can be done about that. Let me know, Captain Adler, what you want to do. Relog? Okay. Yeah, sometimes you have to, unfortunately. It says you had a problem with your connection on your end. That's what Parsec tells me anyway. So I don't know, but reconnecting should help. Nice, that worked out nicely, it looks like. Back in action, throwing some big slashes at Luck. Luck remains solid though, a nice hit there, interrupting those attacks. The snap cut somehow not landing. Luck is able to hit the leg though as his opponent tries to come in, and it's a double. I'm sure Luck is pretty happy with that outcome. Good usage of spacing on his part to stay alive up until the crucial moment there. Luck is making great use of his reach to distance trap his opponent. That upcut there prevents Captain Adler from doing much of anything. He tries to throw a cut, but his arm is basically nailed to his body and splashed right through. There's really not much he can do. This time Captain Adler does get a kill in there. Luck throwing side steps there, beautiful. As Captain Adler is a little bit too linear, it has to be said. But again, that's I talked about the challenge earlier. If you sidestep too much, that might give Luck the chance to just snap cut you and linearly hit you. So it's easy to say, oh, this guy's fighting too linearly, and it might be true, but transitioning and adjusting is easier said than done. But Luck is doing a great job of balancing those two, I think, and just his distance management has been incredible. So Luck with 2 victories so far, instantly shutting down Captain Adler. So we might see another switch from Captain Adler. He can play quite a few characters. He goes with Alex, which is I think what he was saying, if he was down 2-0, he might switch to Alex. And that is exactly what's happened. Alexander is probably the strongest character in the game. He has a lot of great stats. His jump is crazy. You can't even sidestep it easily with Isabella. Barabash has the luxury of explosively sidestepping it, but not every character does. So that jump is, unfortunately, I hate to say it, it's my least favorite move that Alex has, but I hate to say it, but it is a strong move lately that can bypass Isabella's guard, and there's not much she can do sometimes. Sidesteps there. Isabella does have some ways to stop Alex, but it is not easy. It can very easily go Alex's way. Like I said, Alex is just the strongest character in the game. He has high HP, he has high damage, good reach, an insane guard that makes it very hard for opponents to initiate, great movement. He's got pretty much everything you could want except for a powerful stab. But it's not to take away from Captain Adler's skill. One thing with Alex is he's always stepping, so it's very easy to overextend if you don't know how to play him. So there's definitely a skill to play him well, but at the same time, there's a lot of moves you can just throw aimlessly and still get kills with them because they're just so broken. Even Alex's single tempo game can challenge Isabella pretty well. And I've said it before, Isabella's probably the best character at sort of taking the center and winning, but even a character like Alex can challenge her for the center, and even if he fails at that, he can flank instead and go for the side of the head or the side of the arm, something like that. Mike is not able to play, it looks like, so we're probably going to end after the title fight. So that kind of works out. Abir wanting another fight, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to say no because his opponent is not here. So, yeah, no extra fights, I'm afraid, for anybody. I see what you're doing. You want to fast track yourself to the title fight, but I'm gonna put an end to these shady, corrupt deals. So, no amount of wiggly bucks will change my mind. I'm afraid I'm running the show now. And Captain Adler needs one more as we speak to finish it. And there it is. Just wins the trade. That's what I mean about Alex. He has high HP, high damage. He has basically everything you could possibly want in a Saber character and then more. So it's you can see how much tougher it became for Luck. But Isabella is also a tough character in her own right, and we've seen Isabella win the matchup before, so it'll be up to Luck to make some adjustments. And nothing I'm saying is to discourage Captain Adler from playing Alex. If Alex is working for you, like Luck said, just play how you want. That's how I look at it. So it's really up to Kubel at the end of the day to make the necessary changes to balance out these characters. So this isn't to say anybody's unskilled or doing the wrong thing by playing Alex. It's everybody should be encouraged to do whatever's most fun. So. But, you know, it kind of says something when Alex mains themselves are looking at Alex and they're like, yeah, maybe he's a little broken. Whoa, what? What is happening? Oh my god. That exchange was... I don't know what to say. Alex has some hidden mail under his clothing. He somehow ignored Luck's attacks there. He hit the head first, and then he belly lunged straight to the body point blank, and it did nothing. Even cut the head. Oh my goodness. I kind of feel bad for Luck, but Luck is still keeping his head in the game. He's not letting that get to him. And 2 back-to-back flags. That's really what Barabash needs to do to win, by the way. I think the Barabash switch was intelligent on Hellish Quart. Alex in general does move more efficiently than Barabash, and he does have the advantage, but what Barabash can do is he can utilize these snap cuts, his speed, and his explosive movement compared to Alex to get around him and catch him flat-footed. So if Barabash can win the positioning game, he can still do some surprising things against Alex. He definitely does have the tools to win. Overall, Alex is definitely stronger, but it's far from unwinnable for Barabash, and Luck is smart going with these snap cut combinations to catch Alex off guard, sneak around the blade, and hit the head. And again, the sidestep. Thankfully for Luck, that is one move that can bypass the guard, so especially if Alex is overextending, it's a great idea. Thunder Punch actually proving to be a good idea too. I typically don't throw that against Alex, to be honest, because I think it's really risky, but you can see where it aims. It aims for his body, so it actually makes a lot of sense to throw that move. So I'm glad to see that it was working there, at least when Luck is in negative. But that jump is still a dangerous move. Barbash's best bet is to not be there when that jump is thrown. Easier said than done at times. Especially when your opponent's waiting for you to whiff and then throws the jump, but you can sidestep it. Or force a double, worst case scenario sometimes. Alright, so Captain Adler's playing this patiently now, trying to get Luck to essentially spend all of his stamina, and that was an interesting double there. They both just went in. Cancel the Thunder Punch, but it did connect. Double. To be fair though, even if Luck didn't cancel, like, it would have just hit, so it made sense, but it just looked funny. There's nothing unfair about it, it just sidestep there. Captain Adler has the right idea here, trying to win the positioning game against Barabash, playing it patiently, so when Barabash does use these explosive, fast moves, he's ready to punish them instead of just trying to beat Barabash to the finish all the time. But this time the sidestep leaves him wide open to that belly lunge, very intelligently thrown by Luck. And Luck knows how to land this move. I'm not very good with the belly lunge personally, but it's a move that Luck, I should say, really likes to throw from time to time. And in this matchup, it just so happens that it is a good idea. And that sidestep in the end allows Luck to win, and still, Luck is the USFC champion. Congratulations to Luck. Okay, well done to both of you. Luck still won despite the the disadvantage. I'm right there with you, by the way, Luck. Like, I used to main Alex for a long time, right? And Piper mains him too. So, like, it says something when the people who play him, or used to play him, are like, Alex is too broken, he's too strong, he needs to be nerfed in several ways. I get it. Anyway, I'm not going to turn this into a balanced discussion. Luck holds on to his title. Congratulations. If Luck has anything to say, you can feel free to come into the commentator's cabin, but otherwise I'll end it right there. Silly Stoner didn't show up, and Mike had to go, unfortunately. So, yeah, Luck has some things to say, so I'll invite him in, and then I'll end the stream with that. All right, what do you have to say, Luck?
Hello,
Congratulations.
hello, hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a well fought fight. I knew he was gonna go Alex after the 2-0. I figured he would go Izzy into Tana. He did that last time. Then it was gonna go to Alex. I was scared for Alex because his jump does go straight through Izzy's guard. That is why I switched off.
Yeah.
Um, but I just want to say, I think Maestro win his fight? Is he 4-0 now, or 4-win streak?
Yeah. Maestro did win his
Okay.
fight against Castor.
Yeah, I'm gonna let this know to Maestro. I am putting my horseman title on the line. Izzy Mir,
Ooh.
all the way in this championship. No switching. And if you win, I will hand you over the title. But if you lose, you will stop bitching that I'm not a horseman, and I will keep my title and keep this USFC championship title run going.
Nice. So this is not only a championship fight, this is a grudge match. I love to hear that.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right.
That
Anything
is
else
it.
to
That's all
say?
I want to say. Nope.
Nice.
I'm gonna go play hunt now.
Beautiful. I'll probably join you if you're up for that.
I'm down.
Nice. All right. With that, I'll end the stream then. GG's, guys. Nice event, by the way, especially the opening fight. I really liked that. I think that was Hall of Fame material. And I'll see you next time.
Later.